Hello and thank you for stopping by. This is Sierra from Sierra T Designs, and today I have for you a Copic colored thank you card. Well, thanks card. Let's jump right in. So to start, I took the stamp. The stamp is from Studio Katia. It's called A Cup of Thanks, and I'm stamping it down on an 80-pound Neenah Solar White because it's a Copic friendly paper, and this is a Copic friendly ink. So it's Gink K's amalgam ink. And any products that I use throughout this video will be linked and listed down below if you want to check any of them out. So we're going to stamp this down. I had to stamp it down a couple of times because this is a brand new stamp. And you do need to condition your stamps a little bit to get a crisp image. So let's jump right into the coloring. This video will be mostly coloring, I'll be honest with you. I left it all in. It's sped way up. It's probably about 5 times the speed that I color, but I did leave it in because people really like to see the coloring and see how I do it, and so I left it in for you to enjoy. So to start, we're going to use Y06, Y08, and Y19. I always start with my lightest color, and I lay down a full wash of the lightest color. I did it for the whole flower simply because it wasn't a really big image. Like if this was a big flower, I would do sections more so, but this isn't. It's a smaller flower, so I just laid down a full wash of my my lightest color, in this case the Y06, and then I go in with my mid-tone color, which is what I'm doing now. I have the Y08, and then I'll go in with my darkest color, which on this yellow flower is Y19. And for the yellow flower, I made the darkest part the bottom of the petal. So wherever any petal overlapped another petal, anywhere a petal met a petal is where I put the darkest shade of color. And also anywhere that the illustrator drew lines within the petal. So if they had kind of like little dash marks on the edges of the petal, I would put some shading there as well. So that's how I like to do it. And then once I have all of the color down, I go back through my colors. So I go lightest to darkest and then darkest to lightest again to kind of blend out the color. So that's pretty much the yellow flower, and we're actually going to be done the yellow flower. See, this is how fast this coloring is. I promise you, I do not color this quickly. I wish. Man, you know how many cards I'd get colored if I could color this quickly? And then we're going to jump right into the purple flower, which I'm pretty sure is a rose. And we're going to do V04, V15, and V17. And on this one, I actually made the outside of the petal the darkest color. So I started with my lightest, I'll go to my mid-tone, and then I'll go to my darkest color. And on this flower, yeah, so instead of on the opposite flower, I did the darkest color on the inside of the petal, like at the base of the petal. On the rose, I actually did it on the outside petal, kind of creating like an ombre effect in my purple to make the darkest color be at the top of the petal and the lightest color at the bottom of the petal, unless there was a shadow casted. Then I did color it in with a shadow. And I always do lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest. That's just my go-to. So for this card, I'm actually a part of a small crafty YouTuber video hop. This is the first one I've done. I'm so excited. So it's a chance for the viewer, you guys, if you want to check out other small YouTubers. And anytime you guys come and watch us, it really supports us. It really helps us out. We're all trying to share our passion of paper crafting, and having your guys' support is just so amazing. So if you'd like to take part in it, you can click the hashtag that will be in the top of the description under the video. If you're watching on a computer, there's a little arrow that you have to press on the right-hand side of the screen just below the video. If you're watching on mobile, it will be 3 dots. And it opens up the description section, which is also where all the supplies are listed. Sorry, one second, back to the card here. So for the reds, we're going to use R02, R22, and R14. And on this one, I'm just blending from the bottom up. So again, kind of like the rose, I'm creating a bit of an ombre in the petals. And of course, again, anytime it would have been casting a shadow is where I've created the shadow. And I'm going to do the 3, so there's the one bloom that's kind of open, and then I also did the little buds, the same pink colors. It's kind of a corally pink color. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, that would be amazing. I think that there are a couple of prizes going on throughout the hop. I'm not totally sure who's offering prizes. I'm not totally sure who's all contributing, to be honest with you. There's a group of about, I think, 40 of us in the Facebook group, and I'm not sure who's gonna jump along in this, but I know there are some lovely crafting ladies who've got some beautiful cards to share with you, and if you'd like to check them out, that would be amazing, and I appreciate your support so much. Our 100 subscriber giveaway went really well. We're creeping up to 500, and I've got some things set aside for the 500 giveaway. We're going to do 2 prize giveaway when we hit 500, and I'm so excited. So you guys, I can't even express how much it touches me, how much I'm so honored. I don't even know how to put it into words, how much I appreciate your support and your coming by and liking my videos and subscribing to my channel and commenting and telling me what you think. And I really, really appreciate it. I can't even put it into words. So thank you so much for being such an amazing group of crafty friends. And I cannot wait to see how far we go. It's just so exciting. So back to the card here. So now we're into the greens. We're going to do all of the greenery in the same colors. I have G12, G02, and YG09. And I always lay my lightest color, and I do that on the leaves. I did these in sections because there's so many of them. So you do kind of want your Copic ink to be like wet. Not wet, probably not the right, but the paper a little bit of saturation in the color so that you can, like, the pigment blends better if it's not dry. So you don't want to do too many sections. I probably pushed it a little bit on the flowers. I probably shouldn't have done quite the whole flower, but if you can do it fairly quickly, you're probably okay. And with the leaves, I did the darkest section within this inside of the leaf. So where you can see like there's a line drawn to where the inside of the leaf is, that's where I added my darkest color. Mostly just to create more of a shape to the leaf, because none of them were really overlapping each other. So you didn't get as much shadow for dimension because they're not really overlapping one another. They're kind of more sitting out on their own. So I just created the shadow to be the center part of the leaf, as in that it was creating a shape for the leaves. And then we're going to jump into, I'm sorry, I'm still doing the dark ones. I think I missed I did fill it in. I missed the top petal of the yellow flower, but I filled it in while I was talking. So we didn't. And then we're going to jump into the berries around the image. So with the berries, I went with blue. Mostly only because I wanted to add blue to the card. I really like blue. Blue is a beautiful color. And for the blues, I used B12 and B04. And there's not much shading to them as well because, again, they don't overlap each other. They're all kind of just independently sitting there. So I just created kind of like an arc on them to make make them have a little bit of shape. So I didn't really shade them too much either. So here we're gonna okay, you're gonna have to tell me if I succeeded at this attempt. I was trying to have a white cup. That was my goal. So to have a white cup and have it still have dimension, you have to shade it. Like there has to be shading to whatever areas would need shading to have a shadow. So for that, I used my cool grays. I used C1, C3, and C5. And I kind of had to guess where the shadows would have been. And I'm not honestly sure if I succeeded at this. You'll have to let me know what you think. Do you think the cup looks white or do you think the cup looks gray? Copics, with everything else, takes practice. And I know some people have commented to me that, Copics are so expensive and they don't understand why anybody's even really using them because how can anybody afford them? And I completely understand that. Copics are not cheap. There's no question. There are other markers on the market that can do beautiful alcohol blending that are less expensive. But for me personally, Copics were just the way that I went. I find that I just buy, a couple, like once a year if I get a, good paycheck or we get like some tax return or something, then I'll buy a couple. But I mean, it took me a couple of years to get the amount that I have now. So, it takes time and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with using alternative markers either. I mean, you have to work with what works for you. So I just don't ever feel like you have to have the best things or the, what everybody else has or anything like that. You can make beautiful cards with very inexpensive items and they'll just still be just as stunning. So, or, you can do what I do. I buy 1 or 2 markers every once in a while. I mean, I think I was really lucky. I got to be a part of the sale that Hobby Lobby did a little while ago when they were getting rid of them, and they sold a bunch of Copics for $2.99. I just happened to be in the States at the time on my honeymoon, so I lucked out. but otherwise they can be a bit pricey. So here you can see that I have the card base, and I've been doing this, I've been loving it. I took Pumice Stone Distress Oxide ink, and I took the same floral focal image, and I'm just going to stamp it down inside of the card base. And just to add a little bit extra in the card. And off of screen, I also fussy cut the focal image. So you can see that I have a pink panel down in the corner there. That's some cotton candy Simon Says Stamp cardstock, beautiful cardstock they make. And I really wanted to add a little bit of something. I found that the panel was just a little bit too plain for me. So I took the Simon Says Stamp Rose Lattice background stamp, and I put some Versamark ink on it just to create a very subtle watermark effect to give my paper a little bit of texture. And I think it turned out pretty amazing, actually. I've never done that before, so I was so excited that it turned out. And then here I have the Simon Says Stamp Bold Thanks Wafer die. And I've already had this pre-cut. You can see the little baggie I have sitting there. Sometimes I cut things for projects and I don't like how it looks on the project, so I just throw it in that little baggie with the die, and I saved it. And for this one, I thought that it really worked because it kind of holds up the cup, like it grounds the cup, so the cup's not just floating there. It's more like the thanks is holding up the cup. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's kind of like a chipboard effect because I cut it out 3 times out of the same black cardstock that I'm going to mat with. You know, I mat everything. And that just kind of adds some dimension to the thanks. So it kind of is a bit prominent, and I really like that. So that's what I'm going to use to kind of ground my floral image. And you know me, I mat, if you've been around for a little while, I like to mat everything. So for this, I have that cotton candy cardstock that I'm playing with right now. And I have that cut down to, let me just check, my 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So it's 1/8 smaller than my black mat. And my black mat is cut down to 4 1/8 inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. So everything's 1/8 of an inch smaller than the A2 card base, which is what I'm doing here. So I took my Nuvo Deluxe glue, and I'm just going to glue all my panels down. And then we're going to move on to some Wink of Stella so that I can put a little bit of glitter in on the flowers. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here. I think that lattice background just turned out stunning. What a great way to add a little bit of excitement to your card, I think. Sorry, one of my kittens is trying to knock all my cards down off of the counter. That's oh boy. So yeah, I just added a little bit of it's clear Wink of Stella. And I added it on everything, the berries, the flowers. That's it. Not everything. I didn't add it to the leaves or the cup. I kind of wanted those to be a bit plain, so they kind of stood out for themselves. And then I believe I'm going to put some gems on it, because that's how I do. I have to add sparkle to everything. And you're going to see here, I'm going to lift it up in a second. It's actually kind of difficult to catch the sparkle of the Wink of Stella pen on the camera. Like, even there, I'm lifting it up to make sure I've gotten all the petals, because it's really difficult to see it. When it's in person in the light, you can see it quite well, but I did find that it was difficult to see it. And at the end of this video, I do a little close-up for you so you can see all of the color and whatnot, but it was a little difficult to tell that there was sparkle on there on the camera. In person, it looks lovely, but it's kind of difficult to tell on the camera. Scrapbook.com has a new glitter pen that I really want to try out. I just haven't got my hands on it yet. And here you can see I've laid out my gems, and I'm using the new to me, Studio Katia Embellishment wand. Oh man, I am loving this. If you've ever struggled with the Crystal Katana, this thing is the answer. It is a Canadian company, which to me I think is amazing, because a lot of the companies that I love are American, but yeah, beautiful embellishment wand. And those are also sparkling crystals from Studio Katia. So yeah, that is the card today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Oh, this quick for you. I got a custom stamp made. Loving it. I just wanted to show it to you guys. So I will have the company that made the custom stamp listed as well under the video, so you can check it out. It was a Magnuson company, and I will link their Facebook page so you can take a gander at them. And please click on that hashtag so you can check out the other YouTubers that are hopping along on this hop. And I cannot wait until I see you guys again on Monday. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you again soon.